Oh, you kidding me?
Hey,
Hey-yo.
happy KOTG Tuesday.
What is happening? Olee made it in just in the nick of time.
Been having some issues, but got them fixed.
Yeah, kids running around the kitchen, keeping you away from your station, your setup. Or is it more
No.
technological?
More technological. It was a super stupid problem.
Well, we're glad to
I
see
didn't
you.
have something. I didn't have something turned on. I kept restarting the computer and cussing, and it was a button wasn't turned on.
Not having something turned on, story of your life.
I like that hoodie.
Be careful with it. Yeah, boy, you have to be careful with a
one.
fertile myrtle.
Yeah, looking good, man. Snazzy. We got Aaron in the house tonight too. What's up, brother? Thanks
What's
for
going
on,
on, fellas? It's ironic that you get some warm season grass represented in first week of January, but we'll take what we get.
There's a purpose.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a purpose.
Yeah, this is the only time your yards look better than ours.
Let's say I got a little green kind of hanging on there, just a little bit. It's
called
trying.
weeds. It's winter
there
weeds.
you
You
go.
need to spray
Exactly.
for them.
Oh man.
I was walking our kids. So the weather's been super nice and we were walking around the neighborhood and there were a bunch of dandelions in one of my neighbor's yards. It's like, dang, like it was just like 0 degrees for a few days. We hit some 50s and dandelions are popping up already. I was like, what's up with that? I wasn't expecting that.
Must be a week long thing.
Something, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's more of a dirt patch, if anything.
So yeah,
So
it was
welcome,
weird.
everybody.
We're gone for a week. Now we're back. It's weird.
It is weird.
There's soil for a game.
I know last Tuesday I was like, man, what should I do? I got nothing going on. Shoot.
Well, hopefully everybody had a
Oh man,
Oh, we lost you, Brian.
That's strange.
we're all having issues tonight.
there. So anyway, I was saying, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. It's 2023. So hopefully everyone had a great New Year's celebrating. And I'm not a resolution person, but I'm sure some people are out there with their resolutions. So I hope you good luck with those and stick with them and have a prosperous 2023.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm excited. Like now that it's 2023, I'm definitely looking towards springtime. Like I'm just counting down. Somebody split up a post 75 days till spring. So not that far away, you guys. Not that far
It
away.
isn't far away. No, that's
Countdowns begin.
Cool.
All right.
So this is episode 99 of Keep Off the Grass. Let's all raise a glass.
I've got
Keep
my
off the grass. I actually made
Mountain Dew.
myself a drink tonight.
zero sugar.
Zach, what are you
What's up?
drinking?
What's up? Yeah.
Some
What's up,
wine.
Brian?
I get some wine.
Little wine. Yeah.
Yeah, little wine.
Mine's Mountain Dew zero sugar. You can't. You might be able to see it. Yeah.
Nice.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
It's got a good flavor to it, though. That's what I care about.
I got a little OJ and leftover champagne from Christmas brunch. They did like little mimosa, so
Okay.
I was just polishing off the bottle a little bit. So it's done now. It's all right here. Glass number 2, getting ready. All right. So episode 99, Keep Off the Grass. Today we're sitting down with Brad from ENDURANT Turf Paint. Welcome, Brad.
Hey,
Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to
This
be
is
here.
this is our first episode of 2023, our last episode until our 100th episode, which is going to be a giveaway bonanza. We'll touch on that a little bit more, I think, later in the show, give some more details. We got some ideas brewing, so we're going to have to reach out to some folks leading up to the show. This is going to be a fun one, but we'll leave that to the side for now. Brad, tell us a little bit about yourself and ENDURANT Turf Paint, kind of what you guys are, what you guys do, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Brad Driggers. I am with a company called Geoponics, based out of Naples, Florida. My hometown is actually in Greenville, South Carolina. The Geoponics, our number one brand is going to be the ENDURANT Turf Colorants, which we're going to be talking about today. We've been around, I guess Geoponics has been doing the ENDURANT line for, since 2010. So quite some time now. Started out making basically a colorant for sand. People wanted to, color, the sand for top dressing greens and things like that. As dwarfs were coming on the scene, warm season grasses were going into golf courses. That kind of parlayed into, instead of overseeding our greens, we're going to start painting them. And that's kind of where it took off, and it's just grown ever since. I've been with the company since 2014, I believe. Every year has been, a great year, growth. More and more people are jumping on the turf painting bandwagon, if you will. It's just a great product when you look at it versus, other things, especially the way that the our country's going as far as water issues and, fertilizer costs going up and all the things that go into it. Turf painting is actually becoming a very viable option for not only golf courses, athletic fields, but, we're getting more and more into the landscape, whether it's commercial, residential landscape. It's just becoming a more and more popular thing. And, it's, to be honest with you, it's one of our fastest growing markets. So, glad to be with you guys. This should be an awesome show. Looking forward to answering some questions that people have, and let's do it.
Awesome. Well, I guess I'll go first. What's behind you right there?
So this was actually, believe it or not, in Southwest Florida. They've started putting in a lot of zoysia grass down in that part of the state, and they do get some colder temperatures, not like we do here in South Carolina and some of you folks and some of the northern states, but that zoysia grass will actually get zapped, and it doesn't go fully dormant, as you can see from the top half of that picture. Behind me is our Endurant perennial rye color. That color seems to go very good with zoysia grass, St. Augustine, any of those grasses that are typically in the growing season that are typically that, what we call that yellow green, like more towards the yellow side of green. Whereas you get into some of your Bermuda grasses and things like that, they have more of that bluer, it's not blue, but that bluer hue of green to it, the darker tones, if you will, of green. So we have some other colors for those, but behind me is definitely zoysia grass, and that's our Endurant perennial rye that was applied to that. Kind of cool before and after photo on there.
When I was looking, I didn't realize. So I saw you guys had a few different products, and I'm like partially colorblind, but I could tell there were different shades of green. So it sounds like you guys have different shades of the product that better match different grass types.
Yes, sir. Essentially, we have three different colors of our turf paint. The one behind me is the Endurant perennial rye. Again, that's used, a lot on zoysia grass, St. Augustine. Here in the Carolinas, we have a lot of centipede, so some folks will paint the centipede with that because it is more towards that color when it's in its growing state. And then once you move into like Bermuda grasses, we typically see in the landscape side of it, we see our Endurant premium color. The logo would be the P+ on that one. Again, it's a very natural color of green, but it's going to be more of the darker tones of green. It's not going to be that bright yellowy green that you see behind me here. It's going to be more of that, that darker tone of green, just like summertime Bermuda grass look. And then we have another color called Endurant Fairway. FW is the logo on that one. We use it a lot in the golf course industry, simply because typically in golf, golfers like to see the target lines, and once you get that dormant, rough, and then you have a painted fairway, tee box, and green, it just really gives the golfers a nice, target to shoot at. So we do use the FW a lot just because they typically like the darker tones. The FW is a really, really dark color. It's our darkest shade of green. In the landscape side of it, we're utilizing this a lot on cool season grasses, whether that's fescue or bluegrass. It's a really nice, and you can use this at really low rates on your fescue and bluegrass to kind of achieve this like nice, really nice pop of color, almost as though you just, threw a bunch of fertilizer to it.
What is the rate on that, Brad? And I know you guys also offer a sticker product to go along with that. Does that change the rate at all?
It doesn't change the rate. The sticker doesn't. We'll get into that a little bit too. But as far as the rates on the colorants, they're all the same. They're all the same cost, all the same rate. We typically say that you're going to get about 4,000 to 10,000 square feet out of a gallon of our product. 4,000 square feet is going to be like completely dormant, biscuit brown grass is what you're going to get, 4,000 to 5,000 square feet at. Now, if you were painting again, like say with the FW, you were painting some bluegrass that had just gone off color, whether it was due to drought or you just wanted, to add some color to your lawn, whether you had brown patch or whatever the case may be. You're going to utilize that, and you probably would get closer to that 8,000 to 10,000 square feet out of that when you're painting. It's all about what you're starting with. So if you're starting with like this, again, this one behind me, it's not completely dormant, so we were able to use a lower rate on that. The key thing for our product is going to be the mix ratio. We say that we recommend a 15 to 1, so 15 gallons of water, 1 gallon of paint. And then those folks that are actually hand gunning or hand wanting, which is a lot of the landscape guys, we can actually let you go up to 20 to 1 on that. And the reason being is typically when you're spraying anything by hand, most of the time you're going to put down more product than you actually need. Just because your eye, especially with this one, because your eye likes to see the green. One thing with our colorants too is it's going to dry to a darker shade. So I've had some folks kind of get into some binds like using the FW that, it might look really, really good when they first apply it, and then they go out a couple hours later and it's darkened a little bit, and it doesn't look artificial, but it kind of, our goal is like, we want everything to look as natural as possible. Whether you're painting, Bermuda grass that's completely dormant in the wintertime, or whether you're painting fescue that you're just trying to get a nice little pop out of. That's kind of our goal is, the most natural. Now, if you want me and another guy at Geoponics, we always joke about, see it from the moon rate. We have those folks, they want to see it from the satellite, so we really just kind of try to give the customer what they're looking for. We're not out to tell you what you need as far as this goes, because, green's such a unique color. The 6 of us sitting here, we probably see this shade of green behind me completely different. We might see it in 6 different ways. We just don't know that. That's just the way our eyes work, the color in our eyes work. So that's another thing. Like, we can try to match up the color with a specific type of grass, but it also comes down to what the customer wants and what the customer thinks their yard, the color of green their yard should be.
So how long
does it last?
Yeah.
Typically what you're going to see. So longevity is based on several factors. The biggest one's going to be, of course, vertical growth. If you're out there mowing, several times, a month or, once a week, whatever the case may be, it's all relative to how much clippings you're getting, because the more clippings you're getting, naturally, the more paint you're going to be taking off. Now, if we were in a setting where we're painting dormant Bermuda grass that's not growing, you're typically going to get somewhere between 2 to 3 months out of that. And there's a lot of things that go into that, application, how much did you actually put down on the first application? Another thing is like, weather, like rain and things like that. You guys have probably seen some of the Instagram photos from some of our guys that use it, guys out there with his hose, and somebody had commented, what are you going to do when it rains? It's going to run all over your driveway. And he's sitting out there in his robe and he's, just dousing it with water and it's not going anywhere. So once that's had time to dry, it's not going to go anywhere. So sunlight degradation, has something to do with it. But for the most part, you're going to get somewhere between that 2 to 3 months out of it.
I know we got some good questions in the live chat, and I want to get to them in a second, but so is it different than just paint that I would paint my house with? Is like what?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or like what?
It's
What kind of
definitely
makes it different? Or what, would it not work if I went to Lowe's and got a gallon of some green? I mean, or
yeah,
whatever.
so the biggest thing with that, you know, a lot of those
I'm just
colors,
saying. I don't know.
they're not
probably a
made
cool season move.
specifically for
Cool
turf.
season move.
You're probably going to end up, you know, overuse of those products is probably going to end up killing the turf. Of course, we can't do that. Everything that we use in our product is, you know, non-toxic, eco-friendly, pet friendly. There's nothing in our product that's going to be detrimental to anything, whether it's the grass, you know, people, dogs, whatever the case may be. So, you know, as far as the chemistry goes, we typically use, well, not typically, we do use, you know, non-toxic, you know, things. So some of those paints can get into the heavier side of, you know, they may have clay fillers and things like that are just going to be detrimental to the turf. TiO2 is a big one that those products are sometimes filled with. And that's going to kill, you know, if you looked at a football field, you know, they paint the white lines over and over and over in a season. And, you know, that's always your weaker areas at the end of the season, just because you know, you're basically cutting out photosynthesis. So we can't do that. We don't form a film on the leaf blade. So even though we are, you know, essentially painting that leaf blade, it's not forming a film. So that plant's going to still be able to take up anything that it needs. You know, we even have guys that mix foliar fertilizer with the colorants. So we're not restricting that leaf blade in any way.
Yeah, I saw.
So you're painting it and getting some tint, but you're not blocking photosynthesis.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's pretty
awesome. If you
awesome.
looked at the leaf blade, now our goal is to get as much coverage as we possibly can. But again, our coverage is not going to restrict anything. Again, it's not forming a film on that leaf blade. But if you actually took a painted leaf blade and you know, put it under a microscope or anything like that, looked at it really closely, what you would see is kind of some of these, you know, just blotches of paint. Our goal is to try to get that whole leaf blade, you know, covered because it's going to look better. But what happens is it kind of hits the leaf blade and then it kind of runs down. But again, if you looked at it really close, we're not covering that leaf blade 100%. It's just, you know, almost impossible.
Is that where the sticker part comes in?
What's that?
The sticker?
No, yep, we can go ahead and talk about the what you're referring to is our ENDURANT spray and stay. We actually came out with this product more for sports field applications. When you're dealing with, especially football, is a big one. When you're dealing with uniforms, those guys, you know, a 300-pound, you know, NFL football player gets into a pair of pants and then they stretch and then they fall on painted turf, you know, naturally, you know, it's just like a grass stain. It has a chance to come off onto the uniform. We don't have a very big problem with that, especially like when the turf is dry due to weather or whatever. But, you know, anytime you're bringing in sweat or, you know, rainy games or dew or anything like that, there's always more of a chance that product could come off, especially, again, a 300-pound guy falling on the turf, digging a knee in, things like that. And it's the equipment managers have done a really good job. They, you know, they found some chemistry that will, you know, clean the uniforms, but the goal is to get that to not come off. So we came out with the ENDURANT spray and stay specifically for that. What it does is it's actually a waterproof binding agent. And what it does is it basically just gives that, you know, that paint to that leaf blade some more hold. And again, it's waterproof, so it's not gonna, you know, break down into those elements. But what we found is, you know, in the landscape market, I would say probably 75% of our guys have added that spray and stay in. It's a minimal cost. You're not talking about adding much cost to, you know, the overall project. It's an additive, so it's not a separate application. And you can, you know, spray this, and it's really more for those yards where you may have kids playing in the yard and you don't want little Johnny ruining his blue jeans or his tennis shoes or whatever the case may be. So big in the sports field with the spray and stay, but it's also got its applications in the landscape side of things as well.
Yeah, one of the things I was curious about was the effect on the grass. And I was looking at your website because that was one of your frequently asked questions. And what I wasn't expecting, it talked a little bit about how it can actually improve growth of the plants or even get you an earlier green up. I saw something the other day talking about how, some researchers had taken plants and they filtered out the UV light and all the other light other than just visible spectrum, and they grew like way better. Is that something that's playing on that blocking out some of the UV or something, or how can putting this paint on there help growth
I think
better?
Most of it comes from the extra heat that you are retaining, especially with dormant warm season grasses. That's a big thing where we're at in the transition zone, through Tennessee, Carolinas, through the middle part of the Southeast. We really deal with, we have all 4 seasons pretty much. So these Bermuda grasses, there's been this thing, especially like Tennessee and even in South Carolina where I'm at, is, especially in the golf side, or even in landscape, do I do a cool season grass or warm season grass? Well, they both have their, pros and cons, of course. But what we're talking about with like Bermuda grass, it's really about the canvas temperature and the root zone temperature. So if we can bump that up, whereas if you took dormant Bermuda grass on one side and painted Bermuda grass on the other side and put them side by side, what you're going to see with a painted surface, simply because it is drawing more heat. I don't know what that relates to in soil temps, but what we've seen is somewhere between like that 6 to 12 degree warmer canvas temperature. So what we've seen is about 3 to 4 weeks earlier green up, especially on the golf side where they really keep the turf colorants on them all throughout the winter. A lot of those guys are typically mowing 3 to 4 weeks earlier than they normally would, and that just makes for a healthier warm season grass coming into spring.
So
it's cheaper than green sand too.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they're still top dressing with green sand, but that's definitely one of the key factors for those guys is covers, of course, and then the painted surfaces are definitely holding a lot more heat.
So we had somebody in the live chat. They were getting down to the nitty gritty. They kind of want to know how turf paint is made, where it's made, and what has been developed in the turf paint technology to become what it is today. I mean, obviously, we don't want to give away any trade secrets or anything like that, but anything you can talk about, kind of the basics of how it's made and where it's made and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we're using organic pigments without giving trade secrets away. And then, of course, we have a binder in the product, water, and some other, proprietary blends. Where it's made in the Carolinas. It's packaged in Greenville, South Carolina. And then we ship all over the world out of that facility in Greenville, South Carolina. As far as what was the other question? I got where it's
basically like how you develop
technology goes.
Paint,
that's the technology side of it has we kind of were on the forefront of that. The biggest thing that the people that didn't want to use turf paints had against it was it's going to fade to blue. After about 2 to 3 weeks after it's been applied, this product's going to be like Boise State blue. And when you're talking about, especially for us, we're all about trying to get that natural look. If we go out and we paint a surface like behind me, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, it's Boise State blue, then that's not a good look.
So what causes that? Like, why would that happen? I'm not
the sunlight degradation, and it's all about the
fading,
how they fade, and what makes them fade and things like that. So even though these products are fading over time because they are out in the elements and things like that, the goal for us is, and that's why we've been so successful, kind of leading the industry in turf paints, is our products, one, don't fade to blue. And then we have a very high concentration level, and, ease of use. It's very easy on equipment. That was another thing, some of the older turf paints that were out, again, they had like clay fillers in them, and that those particular products would, tear up equipment. So when you got an expensive, sprayer and somebody throws turf paint in it and it starts ripping up pumps and seals and things like that, that's not a good thing either. So that's us too. We're a very clean product, water-based product. So it's not going to be detrimental to equipment, nozzles, seals, things like that.
Now, are you guys on any state, like, do you guys work with any stadiums or anything? Or you guys
Yeah, I won't name any
sports
names.
field?
We do quite a few NFL collegiate stadiums. Anything that you see on TV may not be painted with our stuff. I'm not sure, but a lot of that stuff is painted for TV purposes only. If you look at some of the events on TV, sporting events, there's a reason that grass is so green. Now, don't get me wrong, the sports field managers are unbelievable. They're some of the best out there. They know how to grow grass. And that's another thing I tell people, like, we always get that stigmatism, oh, you're just painting the grass because you don't know how to grow it. Well, that's not true at all either, because the better the grass looks before we paint it, the better it's going to look after we paint it. It's all about turf density. What canvas you're starting with has a lot to do with how good the product's going to look. So that goes into it too. That turf quality is a very big thing for painting turf. You can't just go out there and paint dirt. You can, and you can turn it green, but it's not going to look like what you got behind me or some of this stuff that you see on TV. So if you're looking at an event on TV, if it's real grass, a lot of the times it does have, some sort of turf paint on it, whether it's a pigment or turf paint, but it's got some color on it.
You guys do a lot of stuff across social media with influencers, right?
We do. Yeah, we have quite a few influencers all over the US.
So you've probably heard back from them. I'm certain they've given you feedback of people, saying it's fake and just basically a crappy way to do it and kind of a cop out and stuff like that. Chance to directly speak to that, not through an influencer, but as a company.
Yeah, again, that goes into, we get it all the time. That's one of those things that we try to ignore it, because, we'll get into, like, some people will say, if you know how to take care of your grass, then it shouldn't be turning brown anyway. Well, that was in the middle of winter and it was a warm season. So a lot of it is ignorance. They just don't know that warm season grasses go dormant in the winter. So that's why we're painting it, things like that. But we try to just kind of stay away from it. But again, it does go into the higher quality of turf, whether it's dormant or a cool season grass that may be struggling due to drought or anything like that. The better the grass, the better the paint's going to look. So it's not a knock on, turf growers or sports field managers, landscape guys, anything like that. It's just one of those things where we can solve a problem in a sustainable way, whether it's water issues, things like that. Like again, drought. We dealt with a lot of drought on the West Coast this year, but it's we get the positives and we get the negatives, so we just try to stay the course and just teach people, educate people on what this is and what it can do and how it can be beneficial to the end user.
Oh, and also to speak to that, I want to pull up your guys' website real quick, because something I didn't even know about until tonight is it's not just turf paint that you guys deal with. You got mulch colorants, and somebody had a question about, does the mulch paint have the same lifespan as your turf paint? I guess we can talk about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's one that we get quite a bit. A lot of the times, again, this is going to be dependent on rate, like how much you actually put down. But a lot of the times what we see is this will actually last longer than the colored mulch that you buy. That stuff does fade pretty quickly, especially your high sunlight areas and things like that. But what we've seen is, especially if you put a really good heavy rate on it, you get pretty much the same, or if not longer, on if you paint the mulch versus buying painted mulch. It really helps with the mulch colorants if you kind of put a good coat on it and then just kind of rake it and move it around, and then put another light coat on it just to kind of get that mulch coated on all sides. They are available in black, brown, and red. And then for those folks that deal with pine straw, we also have a pine straw colorant as well. It's more towards that orangey brown color, just like fresh, pine straw is. And then of course we have in the mulch colorants, the cypress red, the brown, and the black. And those, I wouldn't recommend doing like trying to change colors. Like if you had black mulch and you were trying to go to brown, it's probably not going to work out too well for you just because of that base you're starting with. So stick to the color that was the mulch was already in its original state. So unless you're just doing raw mulch, you can definitely paint it whatever color you want.
And then also you have this pond colorant. What's the pond colorant?
Yeah, so we have that in a water soluble bag. So basically it's pretty easy. You take the bag and you throw it. The goal is like to kind of throw the bag in the pond where the wind will kind of drift it. So that water soluble bag will break down and that colorant will begin to disperse. So we're kind of utilize the wind, or if you have a pump, a fountain or whatever, it's a lot easier to kind of get that water moving around. But we have that in the mirrored black and then the Carolina blue. So pond colorants, they're big on the golf courses. They're big for like trying to cut out sunlight. So you don't get the lily pads and things like that if you can cut out that sunlight.
That's cool.
You said I think you said your products are all they're all very similar. They'd be the same ratios when you're using it. Does it matter? Would you guys have recommended spray nozzle tips for like a homeowner with like a backpack sprayer? Your website had some spray tips on there, but I don't know if that's more for like a commercial sprayer. Does it matter, or do you guys have any recommended like a TJet nozzles or any
on our
sizes?
website are more for like boom sprayers and things like that. Because we do recommend, like if we're painting a big area with a boom sprayer, then we're going to recommend you do 2 passes and then utilize what we the dual fan nozzles. So
real quick, if you're doing 2 passes, do you let it dry or do you just drive right back through it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this product's going to be dry to the touch in about 45 minutes to an hour. We like to see a cure time of about 3 to 4 hours. And then we like to see about 8 to 12 hours before any substantial rainfall. Just to give that product a lot of time to completely cure and settle on that leaf blade. But as far as what you're talking about, like if we're painting a golf course, for instance, typically what they'll do is they'll run 1 pass, and then about 45 minutes to an hour later, they'll come back and do another pass. So go paint another fairway, the first tap, then you could come circle back around, whatever. As long as you're not like immediately driving through that wet paint, you're not going to get any, traction or anything like it's not going to pick up and go into an area that you don't want it to. But getting back to nozzles, the nozzle thing is a very frequent asked question. And different applicators like different things, and different applicators are better at spraying with different nozzles. This product is completely different from spraying like a broadcast chemical because it's visual. You can see it immediately, and you can see like your imperfections immediately. Where we're spraying with a chemical or fertilizer, you might not see that you're overlapping a lot or things like that. So this is like one of those instant gratification products, and you can see your imperfections right away. So like when I'm telling a DIY homeowner that wants to paint their yard, when I'm talking to them about what nozzle to use, and typically they're either using, the pump up sprayer, the 1 gallon pump up sprayer, or, best case, they're using like a 4 gallon battery operated backpack sprayer. it's a lot easier for those folks that are maybe not used to spraying, to use the conical nozzle, the cone tip, and adjust it to a fan where you're getting that spray. And we always tell them to kind of move in a circular pattern with that cone nozzle. And what that does is it kind of eliminates all those imperfections, because as you're coming across, you're basically just kind of feathering everything in and making everything uniform. Now, an experienced guy, like some of these applicators that we have that you see on social media, you see them using the fan tips and things like that. Now, that's one of those things where the fan tip, if you're overlapping a lot, you're going to see that. But these guys are used to spraying. So as far as tips go, it's really, we get into JD9 handguns, which is a cone tip, but a lot of applicators use a JD9 handgun. So it's really what the guys are used to. And we try to kind of give our recommendations as far as pressure, what type of droplet size that we're kind of looking for to give them the best case scenario. Because that, getting back to rate, if somebody's going out there and they're just straight streaming the product onto the grass, then naturally that product's just going to bounce off the leaf blade and you're going to be wasting to the paint to the ground. And then you might get a call, well, I only got 1,000 square feet out of a gallon. The website says 4,000 to 10,000. So there's a lot that goes into the application's got to be just as good as the product, in my opinion, on this thing, because we've got to get that product to not float onto the leaf blade, but we got to get it to get onto the leaf blade and stick. So droplet size is a big thing. If the droplet size is too big, it's going to hit that leaf blade and fall off. If the droplet size is too fine, like, somebody out in Oklahoma where it's very windy, if it's too fine, the wind's just going to take it away. So there's several things that go into tips and nozzles and things like that. So it's really relative to applicator. But if I had a recommendation, I would say, the cone tip is the easiest one to use. The flat fan is probably going to be the fastest, more efficient nozzle to use.
With you saying like wind drift, what about cleanup? Somebody gets it on their white fence or on their, foundation or something.
Concrete, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
driveway.
question. Another one that comes up quite a bit, especially concrete. We do some pretty high-end yards too. So you start dealing with marble and stuff like that you may be a little leery to paint around. The best thing to do is wet anything that you don't want paint on and you're going to be painting close to it, just wet it down with clean water. That way, if you do happen to get some overspray or you mess up or whatever the case may be, you can just rinse it right off. Whereas that concrete, if it's dry, then you're going to get paint on the concrete, and concrete's so porous that it's immediately going to seep in. It's going to dry to the concrete. It's going to be harder to get it out. Now you can get it out. We got guys that use pressure washers. There's some chemicals that you can use, like any kind of acid, like muriatic acid. I would recommend, cutting muriatic acid because it has a tendency to bleach, but there are ways of getting it out. But the best thing to do is definitely be preventative with stuff like that. I don't know if we can throw up the video of the edging wheel that I sent Zach. That's a really good piece of equipment, especially if you're going to get into doing this as a business. The edging wheel, it's not necessarily, it is a great tool, but it's all about the amount of time that it saves you. And when you're talking about painting a lot of yards and trying to be profitable in this thing, then it's definitely, it's just like painting a wall in your house. You got to do the edge work first before you can break out the roller and get to the big part of the walls. And that edging always takes you the longest. So this tool was something that we came up with to basically make it easier and make it more time efficient. You could pretty much. Go ahead.
Sorry. You said something about spraying it like a business wise. There's a fellow in here asking, do you need a license to spray it commercially?
No. So there's nothing in the product that's gonna, put you on that, that list to have a license. Everything's EPA approved in this product, it's for ground contact. So there's no license required to spray this product.
Olee,
Can you,
will
mix
you,
it, can you mix it with herbicides? I know you said earlier you could mix it with fertilizers.
Yeah, anything that you don't have to water in, immediately. So we definitely have folks that mix pretty much anything, fungicides, whatever the case may be. Keep in mind, some of the herbicides and fungicides have a little color to them. So I don't know, depending on rate. Oh yeah, this is the edging wheel that we we're talking about, keeping it.
Oh wait, well, I got him. You couldn't hear that sound, could you?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. We don't want to get last time we got a strike.
Oh
You
yeah.
want me to sing when you play
I
it? You
don't
want me to
think
start
there's any
singing?
bad words in there.
Well, no, we played a YouTube video about with a hawk and the sound of it was just like a demonstration on a
Just a
sound.
clip, yeah.
Yeah, and we got flagged for playing it. Like, so.
Okay.
YouTube is funny.
Yeah, so this is actually me. And that's a backpack sprayer.
Yeah, that did a pretty good job of keeping it off the sidewalk.
Yeah, so that gives you basically about a 12 to 18 inch, barrier where you could come on with some bigger equipment, whether it's a spray hawk or, even a boom spray or something like that. That you could it basically gives you that buffer where you're not spraying so close to the concrete.
And what tip are you running there?
That's actually a 8004 flat fan, not just a regular flat fan 8004 nozzle. You can spray from either side. It's got a ball valve on either side. So if where I'm walking now, say there was bushes or whatever, and I needed to somehow spray on the other side, I could definitely do that by cutting one side off and spraying from the other. It comes with a quick connect, just a regular, pressure washer quick connect. So you may have to change that out just depending on what piece of equipment you're, utilizing.
That'd be perfect for a flow zone.
Oh, it's great for a flow zone. You can actually take the handle off of that and just put you a quick connect on it. And then, the flow zone already has the handle, so you can just clip right in.
do you sell that on your website?
We do. It's on the website. Yep.
Well, before we get in, we should pull that up maybe and show that on the website. But we should. I heard a rumor that you might be giving a few gallons away tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. You want to give one away now?
Well, we got to get people to enter.
Okay.
So we haven't even done that yet. But so yeah, if you want to be entered to win a gallon of turf paint, but is it their choice of color?
Yeah, so whatever color you prefer, whether that's the premium, the perennial rye, or the fairway. Like I said, I would try to match it up with whatever turf type that you have. So we'll give you that choice, and then whoever the winner is, we'll get the address and shipping information, and we'll ship it out to you.
That's pretty cool.
So what should we do? Have them throw Endurant or something in the chat?
Put Endurant in the chat.
If you're interested in some Endurant turf paint.
Paint it.
Brad, somebody asked earlier on, and I forgot to ask you, what are you drinking tonight?
I got water in my right hand, and I got some Angel's Envy rye in my left hand.
Nice.
Solid.
South Carolina, man.
That was a Christmas present.
That's
So I'm
good.
putting it to use.
Hey, while we're waiting on Brian to do that, Bill, can I ask you? I ask you to explain some Instagram controversy I saw this week?
Sure. Hit me up, man. What's up?
And I saw you guys advertising for the show, tagging another guy's lawn, and then not tagging him. What's up with that?
So he was tagged in the post, but I just didn't talk about him in the caption. So yeah. I do a lot of the posts
Shady.
for the Instagram
Shady,
account, and we were asking Brad and those guys, send us some content we can use to throw up on the website. And I was getting ready to put it up. I tell you, it was like was early in the morning. You know, there's no excuses, but essentially I wanted to focus on Endurant, even though I knew it was Jordan's lawn, you know, lawn tools. And I figured he's put out a bunch of videos. People, most of us would know who he is, and we've seen it before. So I just neglected to say anything about him or his lawn in the picture. And he quickly noticed that he was tagged in something. I didn't mention him or anything. So I had to go in and apologize. You know, I don't want to cause any trouble. Jordan's a friend, and
now he's
anyway, it was no big deal. He didn't really care, but I thought, you know, that was the right thing to do. I should have said a little something about his cool idea, not like it's something, I assumed you guys had permission to share his content. So I was like, I'll just put it up there. But nonetheless, being a social media guy myself, I should have put a little bit more about his yard in there too. So I think I fixed it.
But he was tagged correctly.
Oh yeah. He was tagged. I just didn't say this is Jordan's lawn or anything, but yes, he was tagged. I made sure to do that.
Well, some great videos.
So we got Lawn of the Week this week. You want to talk about that, Brian? Bill, one of you?
Yeah,
Olee,
Bill.
Olee, what do you get if you win Lawn of the Week
right now?
What do you get if you win Lawn of the Week?
Yeah, give us a spiel.
You get your choice of any NPK and SGN of Pro Pete fertilizer, unless you're too far away to ship a bag of fertilizer.
US only,
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you use that hashtag KOTG Lawn of the Week in your posts or reels, that lets us kind of check it out throughout the week. We're all following that hashtag, and we kind of look and see, you know, who's got the coolest post, the thickest, sexiest, straightest stripes, the sweetest bullseye, the stripes of snow, the Christmas lights, whatever. And with it being wintertime, certainly there are fewer folks out there willing to show off their yard in the middle of wintertime and using the hashtag, but there are some folks who are still looking really good here in January. Do you want to say who won this week, Olee?
Yes, sir. Aloha.
Aloha.
Ooh.
Should have went got
Lawn sauce.
Two-time.
I want to know if he put any Christmas lights in that tree.
Two-time winner.
Now, I just want to mention he actually went back and said, listen, you guys, in June, July, I was telling you that I was going to be Lawn of the Week in December. He pushed it out a little bit, but he's got it. That's
He's
a
not
sexy
wrong.
lawn.
Brad's a good dude.
He is a good dude.
And he may have entered himself into a special thing we may have next week on episode 100, where we want the two-time winners to come on for a few trivia questions and a chance to win a prize.
Hey.
Olee, do you think he shot that with a drone? What filter do you
No
think
filter.
he
Don't
used
use
on
that word.
Baby Jesus.
That's an awesome sweater.
He's got the hat on too.
That's great. He means business right there. Yeah, man, he's looking good.
Yeah.
Laying stripes in January. I love it.
What happened to his nuts?
Huh?
We ain't heard nothing about
Zoom
Brad's
out.
nuts in a long time.
Yeah.
We ate them all, man. We're good.
I think pretty much he's sent them out to everybody in the community. They ran out of nuts over there in Hawaii to send out.
They got to
They'll send them
restock.
all. Yeah, he's got to restock them.
These nuts. Got him.
So, Brad, what do you do? Do you hand water your lawn? He's like walking around, spot spraying it.
He's got flip flops on.
Mm-hmm.
They
That looks
call
good,
them
though.
Slippers.
Really good.
Slippers in Hawaii. Yeah, great job, Brad. We appreciate you and good time,
They're
long
cool.
time supporter. So thank you.
Questions. What's on the back of that shirt?
Oh yeah. Does it go all the way around?
Or the backside.
Little Jesus baby.
That'll be on the after show if he jumps on.
Is that baby wearing sandals? Jerusalem Cruiser.
Baby Jesus.
Some
I
jingles.
don't know. That's some thick, good looking green turf right there, though.
He knows how
Yeah.
to do it. He knows real mode.
Short,
That's
nice
that's
and
the
thick.
key right there.
Oh, the real mower did it. Okay.
That's what I
And
There you
flip
go.
flops.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, congrats, another 2-time winner. I remember last time he won, we had him actually on the show, and we all wore our Aloha shirts with him and for him. It was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. That was a fun surprise for him. I enjoyed doing that.
We might need to break all them out for the 100 episode.
Ooh.
Hey, yeah, maybe.
Ooh. That'd be fun. I say, why not?
But
How
yeah,
are we looking on
like,
that?
hold on, like Zach mentioned again, for you guys that are 2-time winners, Bill did the legwork and found out who you are. We are going to invite you guys on for the show next week. We'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Whoever's willing to do it, because we got a little trivia game to play. How well do you know? And you guys will be up for some prizes. We've got a few prizes set aside for you guys to win from. So
Yeah, this will be your opportunity. If you're a 2-time winner and you're watching this show and you're interested in coming on, you need to be looking at previous winners, previous things we've done on the show, creeping on the Instagram page, because we got lots of fun questions, and some of them you're going to have to, refresh probably. So we're going back to the
That is
beginning.
what she said.
Keep it.
That's not
fresh.
exactly the class A group of people you want on your show. I just
Things get a little crazy.
hey,
I've heard.
If we got to edit some stuff out, we've got to edit some stuff out, I guess.
I've heard.
But Brad, we got this affiliate program. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of trying to do is build a network of kind of like a referral program. So like if we all the time get people calling in, that may not want to paint their own lawn, or, they just don't have the capability of doing it. So they're looking for an applicator in their area. So this is what we're trying to build. It's real easy. You just go to ipaintlawns.com, sign up. You'll have a chance to basically tell exactly what you can paint and what you can't paint. So like you could go all the way up from a residential lawn that's 1,000 square feet to if you could paint a baseball field or a football field. You can put that in there, and then your coverage areas. And what it does is it allows us to refer these people that are calling in that are wanting something painted. We can refer them to the people that sign up on this affiliate program. Like I said, just a way of building our network, if you will, of applicators, because there's a lot of people that call in and just they want their yard painted and just don't have the capability of doing it themselves, or don't want to do it themselves.
Awesome. All right. So we actually have the wheel here. I'm going to pull it up, and we can do a few spins for that.
Share your screen.
Yeah, I got to take it over from.
Steal it away.
I got to take it from Zach. All right. So, as Brad mentioned, we've got 3 gallons that they're graciously going to give out to you guys, the viewers, and we appreciate you guys jumping in and watching tonight and listening about Endurant turf paints. And you get your choice, so we'll gather your information, send it over to Brad, and they can get that stuff out to you. So
whenever they spray it, though, they need to be sure to tag KOTG and Endurant.
Sure, yeah. When you receive it and you spray it, that's only the nice thing to do. All right,
Yeah,
so
don't forget the tag.
here we go for our first gallon winner. Lawn freedom.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Hey, Brian,
Right on.
Yardhard's in there twice.
He is?
Yeah. I
still didn't
Oh,
win.
you're right. I didn't even see
still
that.
didn't win.
And he didn't win that
Man.
time. Man, he's not gonna like that.
Would take away
Everybody's
that
gonna probably
feeling.
want me to.
Did he
You
put
know-
down Endurant twice? That tricky son of a gun. We can go back and look at the live chat. Take them both out.
Everybody's gonna want me to slow the music down or speed up the music because they keep winning, but it just keeps dragging on to the next winner. So, but congratulations, Lawn Freedom.
buddy.
Here we go for our second one.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
He was asking all the questions.
Yeah.
today.
all right, man. He had a lot of good
He was-
questions.
yeah, I'm glad he won that because he was very involved in asking a lot of those questions. So, congrats, Lawn
Congrats,
Radiance.
Still need
And
to
how
get
many
that shirt.
square feet does a gallon cover?
Up to 10,000 square feet. So again,
210.
dormancy, complete brown turf. You're going to be looking at 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. And then, like I said, if you're just trying to kind of give your yard a little pop, maybe that's fescue, cool season grass, hardy green. You'll get upwards of like 10,000 square feet, something like that.
What if you got a giant patch of armyworm damage and you just want to spray over that, but you have 137,000 square foot lawn? How many do you
I was like,
think
you're gonna need
you
a lot
need
of paint.
Those days are gone.
there? Never
Got
again.
that figured out.
You need like
I learned
13
the hard
gallons,
way.
man. All right, let's
Lesson
do
learned.
let's do one more here. Who's it gonna be? Hey, there we go. Casey Lawn.
Hey-o.
Congrats. All right, so we'll get all your guys' information, get it over there. But Casey, that's Kansas City, I'm guessing, right? So that's close to you, Bill.
That better be Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas City, Kansas. Get out of here with that.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. There are two of them right next to each
Unless
other.
you have kids, then you want to be on the Kansas side. If you have kids and they're in the public school system, you don't want to be on the Missouri side.
That's one way to look at it.
Right on.
All right.
Well,
So
do we want to
yeah.
talk a little bit about next week before we wrap the show up?
Definitely do.
I don't know how much we want to
Yes.
divulge
What
as
else?
far as the bonanza, but you say
What'd
that.
you say, Zach?
Nothing.
Oh,
So I don't want to give away too much of what we're doing, but that's our 100th episode next week. You know, we've been doing this for 2 years now, and we're super pumped. We reached out to some of the companies we've had on before. A lot of them have been really generous to offer some product that we can give away to our viewers, longtime viewers that have supported us through these past couple of years. The one thing I'll say is, we're going to do the wheel and everything, but if you want to be in on this, you got to be in the beginning of the show. None of these late comers. You know, we're going to be taking names early on, and then we're going to start, having a good time hanging out and spinning wheels. We're going to bring on some of the two-time winners to do some trivia for some other giveaways and maybe, kind of test their knowledge of KOTG history, our lore over these past couple of years. So definitely join in next week. Tell your friends. Tell your kids, tell your wives, come join the
Tell
show.
everybody.
It's just fun. Get everybody on here hanging out. But get here soon because we're gonna be taking names early on. We don't want folks coming in late. We want to keep it for the folks that are here and those of you that have supported us and enjoyed the show with us over the past couple of years.
It's going to be a big giveaway.
yeah. It's going to be a long one.
We'll make some
Appreciate all the
posts and we'll
support.
try to convince Brian to make a couple little posts with some of the things we're doing on there too, if he can
Yeah.
find time. But
Get some
I mean,
graphics up.
I don't know if I can put you guys on the spot because I have no part in this, but I mean, like, you guys did a 1,000 viewer giveaway, 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and I mean, there was,
Quite a bit of stuff.
20, 30 prizes there.
Yeah.
yeah.
We
I
talking
think
more
this
than
will be
that?
better
We're
this
talking-
time.
We're talking money wise, we're talking maybe triple,
Big-
quadruple.
Big
that.
stuff. We got some big stuff.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
hard to ship items, like
Some are hard to
Yeah,
ship. Yeah,
some maybe.
okay.
Mhm.
Some will use some of the KOTG funds to pay for shipping. So, but
Yeah.
this is gonna
Saving
be
our
cool.
pennies.
This will be fun. Yeah, definitely. And then different stuff we haven't done before.
Yeah, different. Yeah, it's not just a jug of this, a jug of that.
Yep.
There will be
Some
some jugs,
bags.
of course. A few
Jugs,
big
yeah.
jugs. Gotta have that. A couple bags, a couple jugs. Yeah. So join us next week for sure. You don't want to miss that one. You're going to be kicking yourself for the rest of the year because I don't know when the next big ass giveaway is going to be. We hit 2,000 subscribers or episode 200. I don't know. It's going to be a ways away.
Right.
So be there next week. Yeah. So I guess that's all I'll say about that for now. We'll leave it to stories and stuff as we lead up to it next week for everybody to get more info.
So next week will be trivia.
Yeah. We got some good questions. So we're gonna have to narrow it down. We gotta have to narrow down what we're gonna ask so that we can keep it, keep the flow going. But there's gonna be some tough questions in there. So brush up.
Make sure you don't pregame too hard for those that are joining the trivia. You're gonna want your wits about you.
Just for kicks, can we get like a preview question of what this trivia looks like for those guys out there that might participate?
I don't want to give away one of my good questions. Let me see. Maybe I'll do one.
Maybe
I'll do one.
suggest.
Nah, don't even give them anything.
No, don't even give
Oh,
one.
I'm just saying,
No way.
Just information you can find on Instagram, the website, YouTube, all that stuff.
We're not
We'll do
expecting
real
you to like
questions.
rewatch all the episodes and write down anything crazy, but you want to see, who have you had on the show, things of that nature, what have we done? Who's won stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know. All sorts of
So
fun
you
stuff.
got the wheel. You'll be able to win by watching live, naming the wheel, and then also be able to win something by trivia questions, right?
Yeah. For the 2-time winners, get the trivia. Everybody else will be eligible through the wheel and stuff that are on live.
How
chat.
many 2-time
Some-
winners are there, Bill?
Well, there's 9 now. There was 8,
Mm.
and now there's
Mm.
9 of you guys. So that could have been a question, Aaron. So don't be asking questions.
How many of there are you right now? How many? 1, 2, 3.
Now,
4,
I could be wrong on some of these trivia questions. So if y'all know more than me, if my
Yeah,
answer
why'd
is
you be
wrong,
wrong on one.
just a human being trying to go back through and tabulate stuff. So don't hold me to the fire too intense. Right.
Brad, I know you said you don't want to drop any names of stadiums or major sporting events like the Masters that you guys are a part of. Is that maybe something that you could share?
I plead the fifth.
That's good. That's good.
But it's got to be places that some folks would probably recognize.
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
were to
we work
say.
with a lot of folks, Tampa Bay, Florida, Tennessee Titans. We do a few.
All right.
Do you
professional
guys sell them the
It's
paint?
just one of those things where we prefer to get permission before we.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if they're not using ours, they're using something to make that grass as green as it is on TV. You guys know that when you're watching a game, how green that grass is, and you just can't get that from fertilizer. And a lot of
So if they're like
courses will actually they'll do ryegrass and paint. There's a lot of those out west that do what we call the hybrid overseed, where they may have cut their seed rate in half, and then they'll utilize half a paint rate to get that look. So, and it looks really, really good when you're painting that dormant Bermuda that's underneath that rye, and you're getting paint on the ryegrass. It's a very good look. So there's a lot of folks it is all about TV. You know, TVs have gotten so good that you can see every blade of grass now. So it's just a way of not masking imperfection, but just making it more pleasing for the eye.
Would you say like, so if you're on like a football field and you got those stripes that, cut across the, every 5 yards or 10 yards, whatever it may be, would they be utilizing two different paint colors, or would one be painted and one not, or what would you do?
It's done several ways. You can definitely do it with the paint. So you could do like every 5 or every 10 yards, you could do a double rake to get that, that stripe mown look. But one of the great ways of doing it, especially some of your zoysia grasses, well, all of your zoysia and some of the Bermuda grasses, they can be striped up before you paint. And then once you paint those, what the paint does is it just kind of draws all that striping out and it makes it look even better. So there's definitely benefits to the paint when you're talking about striping. You can definitely pull those stripes out and make them look a lot, very, very good. Just by painting on top of them.
Do you guys sell them the colored paint, like for logos and stuff, or is that
we
like
don't get into that? We do have some colored paints. Our colored paints are more for like marking hazard lines on the golf course side of it. We do have a line striping paint. It's our Endurant Great White for painting white lines and things like that on the sports field applications. But yeah, as far as color, now we could make any color you wanted. If you wanted pink, we could definitely make pink. But it'd have to be like a quantity. We don't want to just be having to make a gallon jug of pink. That's just not what we're going to do. But if somebody wanted it for an event, if it was a certain quantity, we could definitely make any color you wanted.
Nice. So where can we find your products? I know you guys have a website. Would that be the preferred place to go to order, or do you guys have like a decent presence on Amazon?
The website is definitely available on Amazon, but we work through our distributors pretty regularly. Some of the big ones in the lawn care would be Site One Landscape, Horizon Distributors, Ewing Irrigation. We do a lot through those folks. So if you have a question about where to get it, you could definitely reach out to me or reach out on the website, and we could definitely find you a dealer, in your coverage area, in your area you're looking for it. So we pretty much have the whole country covered, as far as places to buy it. So we can definitely get you a distributor in your area.
I do like it says free shipping on Endurant turf colorants. So ground and residential.
And then I see you guys are on TikTok, Instagram. Do you guys have like a YouTube, Facebook page?
Yeah, everything's at Turf Painting. All that. We're pretty much on everything. So you can find us on all the social media platforms. We do have some videos on YouTube, and then if you wanted to look at, I did some videos not too long ago on basically initial users learning how to do it, things like that. So on our website, you can learn how to, use the products and things like that. So utilize the website, any social media, and we're pretty hands-on when it comes to our technical service side of it. I do a lot of that, as far as, I got guys texting me at 9 o'clock at night that are, lawn care guys, they work all day, and then 9 o'clock rolls around. That's when the questions starts rolling out. But, it's one of those things where we try to be as hands-on as we possibly can. A lot of times our chat on our website's live. If it's not, we're going to get you in touch with a live person at some point. We're all about, because again, the application is 50% of this battle. We have a really good product. But if it's not applied right, it's just not going to look good. So that's why we try to be as hands-on as we possibly can. Not invasive at all, but we're here to help you be successful. I mean, I do training seminars all over the country all the time, and we'll invite landscape guys to come out, and we'll basically teach them how to paint from point A to point B. So a lot of that stuff is why we've been so successful too, because we don't just want to say, here's your paint, now go deal with it. We want to teach you, and we want to be active in your success, basically. So
And somebody was asking if you have an actual storefront in Naples.
You can probably go by the office and get it, but the best thing to do would probably be reach out to us, and there's probably a distributor that's closer by than our office or something like that. But yeah, we could definitely help you out. Just reach out to us and we'll figure out the best way to get it to you.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it, guys. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming and answering all our questions.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the live chat. Thank you guys for showing up every week and joining us and listening to these awesome companies that are coming on. And we appreciate you guys. Happy.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get this out in time for the podcast listeners, but if we do, come watch the live cast next week, you guys. We appreciate you, but come try to win some free stuff.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, happy 2023, and we'll see you next week for episode 100.
Yep. Thanks, Brad. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Go Hawks.